begin this broadcast by a controversial statement that has been made by senior BJP leader Kailash Vijayvargiya. Now, he has sparked an outrage, and all this in trying to supposedly defend the Agnipath scheme, but what he goes on to say is absolutely appalling. Now, he has said that he will give priority to Agniveers for handling the security at BJP offices. Now, needless to say, opposition has upped the ante after this particular statement really came in by Kailash Vijayvargiya. Now, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has also hit back at BJP leader, and he has said that the youth work hard to serve the nation and not to guard BJP's offices.
जब वो ट्रेनिंग लेगा और 4 साल की सेवा करने के बाद निकलेगा, 17.5 साल से 23 साल तक की उम्र है। यदि वो 21 साल में भी भर्ती होता है, 4 साल काम करता है तो 25 साल। 25 साल में जब वो बाहर निकलेगा तो उसको 11 लाख रुपए उसके हाथ में होंगे और अग्निवीर का एक छाती पर तगमा लगा के घूमेगा। किसी भी मुझे अगर इस ऑफिस में, बीजेपी के ऑफिस में सिक्योरिटी रखना है तो मैं अग्निवीर को प्राथमिकता दूंगा।
All right, we are getting more reactions now after these controversial statements were made by BJP leader Kailash Vijayvargiya. Now, senior Congress leader Jairam Ramesh has also taken a dig at BJP and, of course, related the statements that Kailash Vijayvargiya has made to their Main Bhi Chaukidar campaign. Of course, opposition upping the ante against these statements that have been made in the light of the Agnipath scheme by Kailash Vijayvargiya, where he said that after 4 years, these Agniveers will be given the jobs as security officers to guard the BJP office premises. Of course, it's not going down well with many. This is a controversial statement. First, we saw how Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has responded to it, and now the Congress party also choosing to respond over the same. And to discuss this further, I am joined on the broadcast by BJP leader Mohan Krishna, and also joining me is Wing Commander retired Anuma Acharya, who is also a Congress spokesperson. Wing Commander Acharya, I'll begin with you. How do you take these statements, sir?
This is great disrespect, disgrace, and great insult to the armed forces. This gentleman, Mr. Vijayvargiya, comes from my home state, and I know here we are fighting in the court the case for 10% reservation, which was earlier given to the armed forces, ex-armed forces people, which has not been given this time in the police constable exams, which has recently conducted last month. So if whatever they have been talking about, it is a jumla, and moreover, this person comes out with this, then Union Minister Kishan Reddy also comes out with it, that Agniveers will be given training of drivers, gardeners, nai, barber, electricians, and things like that. They are bringing great respect to the armed forces which guards this country. And look at them. Nobody, including government, is talking about combat effectiveness. They are all talking about younger army and pension bill will be reduced. And moreover, now this kind of a disrespect. Shameful. They have always politicized us. They have always politicized Indian armed forces. They have used armed forces.
But Wing Commander Acharya, I'd just like to turn your attention to the statement that Congress party has also gone ahead and made. Now, really equating this entire statement with the Main Bhi Chaukidar campaign, they are not doing anything better. If you're talking about something where we have to actually take pride in our armed forces, how can you go ahead and make a similar statement also not in a good light here?
I have gone to another channels also. Every anchor was talking about they can become security guards. At the end of it, everybody is talking about security guards. This CRPF, CAPF thing was already there. It is existing 10%. So we don't want this word salads of talking that we are going to give it to them. It is already existing, but nothing is happening. If you're talking about ultimately what is a chowkidar? He's talking about security guards. Same thing. No, ultimately they've come down. They've brought down our people to that. They have brought down the armed forces to that level. I mean, this is what we look at them. They always claim to be very nationalist.
All right. All right. Ma'am, let me get Mr. Mohan Krishna of the BJP to respond to it. Mr. Krishna, can you really defend these statements by Mr. Kailash Vijayvargiya?
Good evening, Gruha. May not be, because BJP office
evening, sir.
doesn't need security people who are Agniveers, basically. But बातों बातों में बात किया होगा, वो बात को वो वापस लेगा. लेकिन मैं एक बात पूछना चाहता हूँ आज विंग कमांडर से. चौकीदार आप बता रहे, चौकीदार का मतलब क्या है जी? चौकीदार का मतलब क्या है? आप जानते नहीं है? चौकीदार इज सिक्योरिटी ओनली.
नहीं,
आपने
you know what,
मिनिस्टर ऑफ द कंट्री को बोला.
Mr. Krishna, let me steer this conversation, and the conversation should happen through me. I'd just like to understand, बातों बातों में कैसे इतनी बड़ी statement आप कह देंगे? On the one hand, BJP is starkly defending a scheme which has seen this kind of protest. Listen to me, sir. Let me finish the question. I'd like to understand this. There has been ample defense of the scheme. Of course, these are the statements which was deter it completely, because how can you go ahead and equate a person who's been shortlisted to go into the defense forces and then saying that after 4 saal we'll give him a naukri as a guard at BJP offices to guard the BJP offices? Of course, this is derogatory, sir.
Let me tell you, what did I say in the beginning? The opening statement of my conversation was that he will take back his words. Then I said, बातों बातों में बोल दिया होगा, but he will take back his words. BJP will not accept insulting any armed personnel, army personnel or armed personnel. We are here.
But we've not had any statements from the senior leadership about that, sir.
Don't disturb me in between. You have asked me question. Let me answer to you. Let me answer.
Go ahead, sir. You were talking about how he's going to retract his statement. We have not seen anything of that sort happening. That's why I interjected you. And I also wanted to understand there is nothing that has come in from the senior leadership of the BJP.
It will come. It will come. I mean, it will happen, and it will be taken care. But let me ask you a question. Why you are not asking the same question to the wing commander Acharya there, saying that चौकीदार का मतलब क्या है? चौकीदार का मतलब क्या है? They call the Prime Minister of the country as the चौकीदार. Is this the way they behave with the people? And Priyanka Gandhi says that the Agnipath will kill the youth. How can it kill the youth? In America, you can have the same kind of thing. In Europe, you can have the same kind of schemes. And you appreciate when you go there. But when you are in India, just because you are in opposition, you want to oppose. Because you have been stuck with ED, you have been stuck with all kind of activities, nonsense activities, the country which has witnessed so far. And now you are saying that चौकीदार.
Okay.
चौकीदार आप प्राइम मिनिस्टर को भी बताया. प्राइम मिनिस्टर को चौकीदार बताया. तो आप ये अग्निवीर को चौकीदार करके क्यों ऐसा इंसल्ट कर रहे हैं? कांग्रेस वालों को कुछ मुद्दा नहीं है.
All right. All right, Mr. Krishna, it's not the Congress party who's called, the people who are joining as Agniveers as Chowkidar. It is the other way around. I'd let Wing Commander Acharya respond to the statements. Of course, Mr. Krishna, there, ma'am is referring to, the statements that have been made by senior Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi. And she's gone on record and she said that this Agnipath scheme is going to kill our forces and kill the youth. Now, can you defend these statements, ma'am? I'll ask the same question to you.
Ruha, let me be very clear and let me tell people from the alphabets. Yes, this has been taken out. This concept has been taken out from Israel and Singapore, where the population is 57 lakhs and 71 lakhs. So with this population model, you are implementing on our armed forces. You are actually destroying our basic fabric. This scheme has to be taken down. It has to go down because neither it is helpful to the armed forces, nor it's doing any good to the youth. Youth are not even enrolled. They are only getting to wear the uniform, but they will not be entitled for all other things, which is there for the present soldiers. And people from the very needy background and with kind of courage, they may not come forward because they also want a job security. Who will come forward? These people from RSS, those who wants to be obliged by the BJP party. This is same thing had happened with Hitler's Nazi force. There is a SS army which was created in the same fashion. So I have to tell this BJP spokesperson that Chowkidar word was never used by the opposition, it was the Prime Minister who himself calling himself a Chowkidar or Pradhan Sevak or new words, new jumlas, whatever he talks about himself. So we are only referring to what he has said. Now coming back to the scheme has to be withdrawn because our armed forces never make a scheme without a SWOT analysis. They always do a strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat analysis. This scheme is such an incomplete one. People have not been communicated in advance. There was no pilot project. They could have started with this police. They could have done home guard to be replaced by the police forces. They could have done that, but they've straightway tried upon us as guinea pigs, which is bad. And I surely condemn this particular act of government. In addition, I would like to say
Mr. Krishna, would you like to respond to it? This is a guinea pig jibe that is coming in from the Congress now.
Yes,
I'd like to understand. Of course, we've had the senior defense personnel going ahead and coming on record saying that this is not going to be rolled out. In fact, the more radical thing that's come out of the press conference is that this is the only way forward for anybody who wants to enroll in the defense forces. It is going to be through the Agnipath scheme. This is something that the youth will also be waking up to now, because any other past ways stand abolished. It's only going to be through this. And now, in order to defend this, of course, your leaders cannot really go ahead and make statements like what have been made by Mr. Kailash Vijayvargiya. Can't really be flying off the handle here.
Let me answer to what Ms. Wing Commodore said now. The Congress opposition is misleading the country by saying there is no job security. Let me ask a simple question. When we are saying that 25% of the total recruitment will be absorbed for regular as army personnel, so then where is the problem then? Where is the problem? Let me tell you, out of then 75% left, 10% also is there. So 35% ho gaya, 50% tak kaise nikal jate? Aur they are getting the certificate. 10+2 certificate. If they have done the 10th standard, they are going to get the 10+2 certificate. And the skilled labor, see, we have to value our armed forces people also. They need a lot of people today. For everything, you cannot go through the regular process. Who said that regular process has stopped? It's going to be abolished. There is no statement from anywhere. Why you are misleading the country and the youth today? The opposition, especially the Congress, I'm telling today. Why they are targeting our schemes like this? All the schemes. अरे एक बात बोलता हूँ उन लोगों को, अगर आपको सरकार बनाने के लिए लोग हक नहीं दिया है, इसका मतलब है आप में बुराई है. हम अच्छा काम कर रहे, सब अच्छा काम हमको लोगों को उलझा के आर्सन करने का.
I'd like to understand where you've come up with this maths here, because here we are talking about up to 25% of the enrollment into the defense forces of all the people who come in as Agniveers. Up to 25%. Yes. 75% of the people who are Agniveers will still be left in a lurch, and that's why what you see on ground is happening. The protests are happening because of that. But in order to allay that fear, you can't really, and I'm again bringing you guys back to the debate, you can't really have leaders like Kailash Vijayvargiya talking about things and saying it on record that hum BJP mein security guard ki naukri de denge. You can't really have leaders say that.
No.
Do you agree, sir?
This is not in good taste. This statement by Kailash Vijayvargiya ji is not in good taste of the party as well as for the youth of the country. That I do agree. But that will be taken care by the party disciplinary committee, and they will talk to him. I am discussing about certain things. What Congress.
All right, Mr. Krishna, I'm taking your word for it. I'm waiting for BJP leadership to respond to this.
Give me a chance.
And I will come back to this story, and of course, I'll bring you back on the debate, sir. I'll bring you back on the debate, and then I will probably eat my words if at all we have a response, because we are still waiting for that to happen, because the statement was made a while back.
It will happen. It is already.
All right. All right. We'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Wing Commander Acharya, and also Mr. Mohan Krishna, for joining me. I'm really short of time on the debate here. We would continue discussions on this. Of course, these statements are something that are not really taken well. Of course, these have been made in a very, very poor light. And also, this is to do with the Agnipath scheme, something which is a radical change in the defense forces that the government is really backing. And there's been so much said about this. You can't really have leaders like Mr. Kailash Kailash Vijayvargiya going ahead and making statements like this. Now, if we take a look at the Agnipath recruitment scheme, the first batch of Agniveers will be inducted into the Indian Air Force in December. Now, the registration for the same will be beginning from June 24th, and online examination process will be starting from July 24th. For Navy, the registration will be beginning from June 25th, and examination process will start from July onwards. And the first batch of Agniveers will be inducted in the Navy on November 21st. And if you look at the Army, the registration will begin from July and examination process will begin in August. First batch of Agniveers in the Army will be inducted in December. On that note, slipping into a very, very short break here on the broadcast. News and updates continue right here on Mirror Now. Stay tuned.